So I'm here with the fabulous Rachel, and she has an expertise in, I call them PIPs. I know that's not what they're called, but passive income products.
Yeah.
And every time I say it, I'm like, it's just a PIP.
Cute. I like that.
And you speak on stages, and we just talked about astrology and what that means and how that can be a part of your business. And the reason I wanted to hit record so fast is because all of the fire signs like Aries, Sagittarius, Leo, they are great at coming up with ideas and
Mhm.
then following through. And one of my favorite stories that you tell is you were like in Alaska and that's where your first passive income it's like the ideas just come and it's like if you
Yes.
follow them they actually can be profitable.
Yes.
So how what's besides the Alaska trip, what's the biggest like spark of inspiration that you followed?
Ooh, I would have to say my book. So there, this this may or may not make sense. I don't always share this because it sounds too woo for most people, but I always feel like there's this hidden grid underneath reality. And that's how it feels for me. It's like a grid, and I can sense how close something is, or if it's on the peripherals, or if something's calling on the grid. Don't know if this is real. Doesn't matter to me. It's real to me. So, I'll like feel things, and I felt book, book, book. And it first happened back in 2018, and I started writing a book, and I was like, I'm going to reach out to agents. And I actually got in touch with one of the biggest agents in for books in the United States, like a name that everyone would recognize. And he's like, I'd love to see your book. And then I panicked and I never sent him anything because I was just like, I, for some reason, am not ready for this. And I think I had responded to a call too fast and I should have written the book when I felt book, book, book coming up. And then it was actually a few more years before Russell Brunson's a pretty known marketer,
Yeah.
founder of ClickFunnels, and we were at his house, Paul and I, and he's like, "You really need to write a book, Rachel. Like, you need to write a book. People want a book from you." And I was like, I just get so nervous about this." And he's like, "Just write 500 words per day, and by the time, I think at that point it was by the time you turn 30, maybe it was 31." You'll have a book. And I was like, that's a good idea. So I just started writing it every day. And I would just, as I was typing, I would be like, it doesn't have to be perfect, just 500 words a day. And before you know it, I finished the book, started querying it, got a hit from a major publisher, and I voxed Russell and I was like, Russell, guess what? I just got a hit from, and I said the company, the publishing house, and he goes, let me introduce you to Hay House. And right then it was just like, this is so weird because I felt that weird call and just started writing the bad words and then making it a little better. And then a massive book deal came from that. So it was like that hit wasn't an accident, but I still had to follow the right steps from the this is an idea, go, you know?
Yeah, and I love that. And I love how
Mhm.
you say like it might be too woo because I actually have a weekly group that's called the Weekly Dose of Woo.
Oh
And
my
we go
gosh.
over the astrology and your intuition and
Yes.
manifestation check-ins and stuff. So
Yes.
like it might be too woo, and I'm like, oh no, you come sit over here. Ain't
We're in
no
the
such
right place.
thing.
I love that.
So you had a really sorry, I have ADHD. My mind is going
That's okay.
everywhere for you.
That
I'm just
doesn't
like, I
phase
have
me.
questions.
Go for it all.
You had an intensive a
Uh-huh.
few weeks ago from when we're recording, and
Yes.
it was about the pips. And
Yeah.
you had mentioned that like you had a gut feeling about it, that it's going to look
Uh-huh.
totally different than everything else. I actually attended that and was a
Oh,
part of that, and I thought it was amazing because to me, what I felt was like you were following your intuition with it, even
yes.
though it looked totally
Yeah.
different. So
Yes.
with how did that go for you? Following your intuition the
Yeah.
day before with like not with the amount of slides that you do, like what was it like?
Yeah, I'll share like the what happened because it was the weirdest thing. So I knew I wanted to do a passive income intensive for years. And I just kept putting it off because I was like, for some reason, it doesn't feel right yet. It doesn't feel right yet. And then finally, I was like, I'm just going to get it on the calendar and then we'll do the process. And maybe throughout the process, I'll find here's what we're going to do with the slides and here's how we're going to teach it, etc. And it was literally all the days leading up to it. I only had 43 slides for 3 hours. Now, to give context, that would normally be like 200 to 500 slides for 3 hours to make sure you have the quotes, the frameworks, the diagrams, examples, etc. And I couldn't do it. And I looked at Paul and I was crying and I said, I don't know what I'm going to do because I have no clarity. And he's like, why don't you just trust that? Like, what if you just go? And I was like, okay, I'm so scared about this. And he's like, you know this. Why are you scared suddenly? And I was like, it's new for like what I teach. I don't normally teach this side of things and stuff. And that's when it hit me. The very thing I wanted to teach, show up and meet needs. That's the exact whole essence of passive income products, was exactly what I needed to do with this exact training. And it was like the best connection. I mean, we had so much fun. Did you have
Oh,
fun at least? Oh, yeah.
I did. I was blowing up the chat. And I
Yes.
agree with you when you were like, "Oh, I did it as a webinar. I want to see your faces." And I was like, "Yes, let's see each other next time." So
Yes.
yeah, it was we were all just blowing up the chat to
Yeah.
be a part of that energy and to
It was
follow our intuition.
Yes. And it was very much so like, what do you guys think about this? Or drop this word if you find this or whatever. And it ended up being extremely collaborative.
Yes.
What I loved about it was for once, it wasn't some things you can like have slides in a presentation for if you know what people already need. But I think that was the big thing is everyone's preaching at everybody. And I was like, I don't know exactly what everyone needs when it comes to passive income. Do they have the assets already? Do they, et cetera? And we ended up going into exercises that I loved. I saw people coming up with assets and being like, oh, I can create a passive income product. So there were conversions from it. That wasn't my focus so clearly because I didn't have the value stack or there wasn't even hardly a pitch. It was like an anti-pitch, if that makes sense. It was like, oh, I got this cool thing, and if you want to come join it for eight, the next 8 weeks, we're going to dive into this. Here's the link or whatever. And then my team was like, we'll just follow your lead. So they're dropping the link, and I'm like, let's just keep going and have fun. And it was amazing. Some of the best feedback we've ever had from any training, probably ever.
I think a really important thing about teaching classes and uh,
Hmm.
giving information is
Yeah.
giving people the space to explore while
Yes.
you're around other people that you can bounce ideas off of. Because how many
Yes.
times have we been given something in a class and then we take it home and you're just like, I got a question. I got, can I raise my hand? And there's no one there to answer it. Like,
Yeah.
we all got to explore in a very structured,
Yes.
supportive way, which is how I think teaching should be done. I always tell
Yep.
people for all of my classes, I'm like, there will be an experience, there will be a
Yeah.
chance to journal, ask a
Yes.
question.
Yes.
Let's explore together
Hmm.
because let's be honest, most of the time, like when we do that at home, we're like, was that stupid? And then you just don't know. You're like,
Yeah. Uh-huh. I loved that. It took away my fear from it. I don't know why I was so scared about teaching passive income. For some reason, those products, it made me nervous. And I have my own theories, but it's my own, I think, limiting blocks from early experiences in building a business. But truth be told, it didn't need to be hard. I just needed to listen to people and see what people needed and then like meet that support. So it was so good. That was so fun.
It was awesome. So, this is
Yeah.
completely off topic, but I would like to tell you my biggest takeaways from that.
Yes, please.
And so it was a 3 hour intensive, which I think was the
Yep.
perfect amount of time.
Yep.
And so so I do my entire business through intuition. I will not make a rational decision ever. I'm like, what's the soul say? The soul says yes.
Yes.
I'm doing it. I don't even care. I'll do it. And so, um, like you were going through pricing, and I was like, I'm not going to end
Yes.
anything in a 7 or a 9. It's all angel numbers. Like
Yep.
it's all going to be $11 because people ask, well, why don't you offer anything under $10? And I'm like, because it's not an angel number. I don't want to
Yeah.
offer something that's not
Yeah.
numerology specific and significant. And I had asked you that question, and you're like, yeah, it
Heck
doesn't
yeah.
like
Yeah.
make it significant then. Don't just like pick a random like 555 for no reason. Like
Mm-hmm.
have it
Yep.
mean something where people who can choose like 97 or
Yeah.
1582 or whatever. It's like
Uh-huh.
you pick the number based on like value and everything, but
Yes.
it's not that anyone is wrong. You were like, yeah, you can totally
Yep.
price that way. It doesn't have to be
Us.
exactly what
Yeah.
market says. It needs to be what is comfortable with you. And so I loved that. And I loved that again, you gave us time to explore each as we went. So like I was taking notes and stuff and now it's in a Google Doc that's like categorized and I'm like now I can search it. Now I can go back and search what I want.
Yeah.
I love that. I'm like I want to go back and search. So those were my two things that you were just and both of them have the same theme.
Yeah.
Do what's best for you.
Yes.
Come up with a digital product that works for you and how
Yep.
your clients need that. What problem are you solving? Because it wasn't like, well, you need to save them
Oh,
time.
yeah. So there's something big around that. I love that you highlighted that because so I was the kind of kid growing up where if my parents said you have to do it this way, I'd be like, but why? Why
Mhm.
can't I do it this way? And then I would get in trouble for being disrespectful. And I felt very frustrated about like how the world worked because I thought apparently there's a right way and a wrong way. And if I don't follow the right way, I don't get accepted. So I'm really big into being like, if there's something that feels right, follow that. I am huge also into like you follow your gut, you follow your intuition. And as long as your intention's in the right place, oh my gosh, magic can occur when you follow those two things together.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
and I feel the same way. Like I
Yeah.
never quite fit in, and I still don't fit in. And thank you, good Lord, baby Jesus, that I don't fit in. I was like, I remember at the age of 5 getting in trouble because I was raised Catholic, and so we went to mass every Sunday.
Uh-huh.
If there was something that I didn't understand or contradicted or I didn't think was fair, I literally raised my hand. And people were like, "You can't." And I'm like, I have a question. You're not supposed to interrupt the sermon to ask the priest a question. And I would do it every time I'm like, I should get my questions answered. And they're
Yeah.
like, no, no, you just need to accept this is the way it is.
Take notes.
And and
Yeah.
and then running a business, it's strange because it was the same way. You need to have it look this way. You're only going to be successful if you never say the word fuck. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm
Right.
screwed.
See, okay, so people don't actually know this, but I swear like a sailor. I was literally in the Navy Sea Cadets. So I went to boot camp, spent a week on the USS Ronald Reagan, like everything. I do swear like a sailor in my personal life. But because of my upbringing, the whole like you don't swear in public, my dad was a pastor growing up. And then the time I got into business, like 11 years ago, that was exactly the narrative that was going around. You can't swear or you won't be accepted. And I defaulted to being a clean brand because of both of those programmings. And I still regret it to this day sometimes, but you can't just flip from being clean to swearing without
Yeah.
having a pretty drastic like fallout. But I wish I could just drop like the F word every so often. Maybe someday in a future iteration. I
Uh,
miss
I went with cussing right away, not gonna lie,
it.
and my
I'm
business grew
jealous.
slower, but no
Yep.
regrets because so many of my
Yes.
clients, they like I swear first. And
Yes.
and then they go, "Oh, thank you." Like I didn't know if
Yeah.
I could calm down. I didn't know if I could like cuss. I didn't and then they
Right?
just relax and I'm like, "That's my ideal client. Like I want you to be
Yeah.
comfortable and yourself and just go with it because
Yes.
yeah, it definitely rubs a lot of people the wrong way. Like I get
Hmm.
complaints about it, and I'm like, don't
Hmm.
let the lipstick and boobs fool you. I'll swear
Yes.
because they
I,
think we shouldn't, and it's like, oh,
mhm.
honey, should is not a word that exists in my
My
universe.
life. Yeah. Yeah, I'll stick with the clean just because that's what I'm known
Yes.
for. Like I don't cuss up a storm on podcasts and stuff, but privately I do. And then when I do with my clients, they think it's funny. So they're like, "Oh, she swore." I'm like, "Yeah, that's actually normal." So,
It's like, yes, yes, you're catching the authenticity. And I
uh-huh.
think that brings up a really good point that it's like humans are complex and multifaceted. And like just because you're not swearing and you have a clean brand doesn't
Yep.
mean you're not being authentic because I have such a hard
Mhm.
time with people that are like, well, it's only authentic if they see all of you. I'm like, okay, I just want to. So if I am on the toilet with diarrhea, you want that?
Yeah.
Like, Sweetheart, that is the authentic me too. But let me tell you what, that does not need to be captured for posterity sake.
Yes.
So it's being authentic, and it's not necessarily like choosing what version of yourself to put forward. It's like
Yep.
everything just doesn't need to be shown, and it's still
Yes.
authentic. I don't know if you have found that, but now with like authenticity being such a huge
Mhm.
thing, people are like, well, if you're not showing everything, then it's false. And I'm like, not really. How do you feel about that? Like having a clean brand, it's like
Yeah.
that's still you. I've never thought you were inauthentic, right? Even though
Yeah.
I've never heard you say the
Mhm.
C word.
I love the C word. But okay, so I always think about it like when I'm with my elderly grandparents who are in their 90s and they come from a different time for sure. Swearing was like super inappropriate for them. Like it's just it's you don't do it. I'm not fake with my grandparents. I'm not going to be like, oh, guess what? And pretend parts of my life are together that aren't. But I'm not going to go in and shock them by dropping the C word, or the F word or whatever. So there's a version of me that is just a little tamer. Maybe if I went into a kindergarten and I was teaching, which
Yes.
I do go into schools and stuff, or I was meeting with my grandparents, there is just a cleaner version. And I always think of it as like, which version of me do you want? Because they're the same, they're just different
Yeah.
levels of a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all the different facets.
Yeah.
And I love that you brought up children because people are like, "Oh my gosh, like
Yes.
you're so inappropriate." And I'm like, "I love kids. Kids love me. I don't
Huh?
cuss. Like a word may slip out at some point, but it's like I don't cuss around children. I will argue about what the best planet is. Pluto,
Mhm.
Pluto, and if you're wrong if you say anything else, it's Pluto. I will argue about cartoons. I will do all that stuff.
Yes.
And it's like, yeah, that is totally me. I get excited. I own coloring books, footy pajamas. My stuffed animal that I sleep with, his name is Ralph. Like,
Yes.
that's also me, and I get excited. I
Hmm.
also get excited about like the woo stuff and business and digital
Yeah.
products. Like I love digital products because they're so accessible to everyone no matter their needs.
Yes.
It's like you're disabled and you can't come to an in-person event.
Yeah.
Dude, we'll record it.
Yes.
Oh, you're hard of hearing? Here's the
Captions.
workbook. Like
Yes.
digital products make knowledge just
Mhm.
accessible to everybody, which I think is really
Agreed.
important with everyone deserves it, not just people who can get there or read lips
Yep.
or, you
Agreed.
know, how do you feel about that? Because you've created so many digital products and you've also
Yes.
talked on stages. Do you
Hmm.
find that like having digital products is a cornerstone or an important part for a business to have for accessibility or just profit?
Yes, 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 all of the above. And I'll just share even from my example. So I'm extremely neurodivergent and like learning is hard for me. So if someone's just talking, I have to do something else. Like I have to be like embroidering something or sewing something or walking on a treadmill while also holding weights. It's really hard for me to listen, which is why, back in school, I had taken like Mensa tests when I was young, and I don't remember all the details, but my grandpa and my mom managed it. And apparently I qualified for Mensa, but they didn't want to put me in it for some reason. And then I go into school and I graduate with a 2.6, which is abysmal, right?
Mhm.
Doesn't make sense. And it's all because the majority of my teachers said I had to pay attention like this. And I just couldn't because I would completely dissociate. I was gone. And so there was one teacher that allowed me to doodle and draw pictures and write notes to my friends as I was listening. And I got straight A's in that class, like 100%. And that was um, trigonometry. So kind of weird, right?
Yeah.
So I am going to always opt for the passive product or the workbook or the formulas, the frameworks, etc. Because if I have to listen to you talking for more than like 7 minutes, it's really hard for me. That's also why, by the way, I do a lot of like pattern interrupts in everything. I try to like tell a quick story or do something that keeps re-engaging neurodivergent brains.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I have to have those passive products. I'm a huge fan of them, and you are missing out on so many people who don't just want to watch videos for hours if you don't have those available.
Exactly. And
Mhm.
like 2 points, one of which I had a very similar thing. Like in
Yeah,
kindergarten, I had a bunch of tests done, and then my mom was called to the school, and she thought I was in trouble. And they're like, "No, I don't think you
right.
understand. Like your kid is too
Smart.
like I learned cursive in kindergarten."
Oh my
And
gosh.
it because they're like, well, you don't understand writing because you're flipping everything because you're dyslexic. So we'll just teach you cursive already. And I did so much better. And now my handwriting is like cursive and print mixed completely.
Cool.
And
Yeah.
so it's like I was like you, where it's like you tested and everyone was like,
Yes.
whoa. But I was also like considered so challenged because I couldn't do it the normal way. And
Yeah.
teacher were like, we don't know how else to explain it to you. And I'm like, oh, honey, that's what you're paid for. Because then, like by the time I was a teenager,
Yeah.
they would give the instructions, and then I would go to them and say, "Now explain it to me my way." And they would
Yeah.
have to learn how to talk to me every single
Uh-huh.
year. The teachers, I would walk up and go, "Okay, so this will be fun for you. Good luck. I wish you
Yeah.
all the best." Um, so yeah, and then like doing other stuff. So in
Mhm.
my speeches in my classes, we keep track of the number of side tangents I go on, and it'll be like sad tangent number one, and then I will just go for it and then
Yes.
go back to the topic. My record is currently during like this 2 hour class, seven,
Hmm.
like
Oh my
completely off
gosh.
topic, just one, two, and we just go through them. And because it's like I don't want to hide my neurospiciness.
Yes.
It's like, no, this is part. I hope you find it entertaining
Right?
when you're
Right?
teaching and you're like, and remember that dog that crossed it, and everyone's like, I thought we were talking about healing stones. And I'm like, we are, but just let me, I'm just going to bop over here for a minute, don't you know?
I love that. How it showed up for me was obviously friends were hard when I was young. And I had to like make decisions about do I want people to like me? Do I want to be accepted, etc. But for me, it showed up as like kids being like, you can't use such long words. And that started in fifth grade. So they kept tally of how many overly long words I used in the place of simple words that could have done. It was the whole like the office, why use many word when few word do. Um, and it was really interesting. And number two, like if I had a writing assignment, they'd be like, "Oh, it's a three page story," and I would write 26 pages, and it would have lore and the whole magical system, invented and
Yeah.
everything. And it was hard because it was pretty apparent that I wasn't processing everything normally.
Oh yeah, like all the stories you're telling, I'm like, yes, I resonate with
Hmm.
that because
Yep.
that was I was told that I was using too big of words because I had too big of an ego and I had to prove that I was better than everybody else. And I'm like, no, literally that's the first word that came up in my mind. It would
Yep.
take so much more effort to find the small words than it
Yes.
is just to say, you know,
Yes.
the big articulate words.
Oh.
And so, and yeah, making friends, I'm not gonna lie, to this day, making friends is hard. Like
Hmm.
it, because we all have baggage, and
Hmm.
not everyone's baggage resonates. And it doesn't make someone bad. It just
Yeah.
means like you don't fit. You're not meant to
Yep.
fit with everybody. You both
Mm-mm.
can be perfectly amazing people over there.
Yes.
Like just not.
I've always said like yeah, I actually say that too, that we all have baggage, and then I always say you just have to decide whose baggage you can accommodate
Hmm.
and whose baggage you're like, yeah, we can take turns carrying each other's. That's cool. I can deal with this baggage. This is my brand of baggage.
Yeah.
So,
Because some of it, you just like, there are certain things that we just don't have the bandwidth for, or quite frankly, like the
mhm.
understanding. None of us
Yeah.
have the whole human experience that it's like, oh,
Mm-mm.
yes, I can help you with that. Like, there are forms of trauma that it's like, if someone looked at me and said that, I'd be like, oh, but like, child abuse is something that I lived through. And I'm like, oh, yeah, like,
Mhm.
sit down, let's chat.
Mhm.
Like, it
Yeah.
doesn't bother me. But if someone was like, I had cultural problems, I'm like, have you
Yeah.
seen this slice of Wonder Bread? I have no clue. My pale Irish ass is not going to be able to like connect with that. And it's nothing against them, but like I won't be able to wrap
Mhm.
my head around that level of
Yeah.
trauma. And
Yeah,
it's
you
like,
can
I'm so sorry. I have no help for you besides listening to and holding space, but
mhm.
I'm just gonna sit here and go, that sucked. I
Yeah.
can't even fathom that. Sorry.
Yeah, I totally get that. Yeah. Mm, I love that.
I think with
Mm,
everything, following our intuition is really important, not just in business. Like with finding
Yeah.
our friends, like if you vibe with them, it's like, yes, I'll follow my intuition to you or you.
Yep.
And if your intuition doesn't have good vibes, that's valid too. Because I know I've
Mhm.
not this, and obviously I'm all about the woo. So I have not done business with people based on their zodiac. I have not done
Really?
business with people based on a psychic ping that I've gotten. I've been like, universe said no, keep walking. No, no,
Yes.
no, don't have time for you. And I'll have people be like, why? Like there was
Yeah.
nothing on paper. And I'm like, it doesn't need to be paper, it has to be here. I have
Yes.
to feel here.
I wait for that too. And every time I've ignored it, it's gone not great. Like I'm reminded of why those feelings come up and those feelings of, listen, it's not wrong, it's just not right
Yeah.
now or whatever for whatever reason. And then it usually ends up making sense in like 6 months from what I see about those people or whatever. And I'm like, oh, they had a different intention than the ones I tend to like supporting, you know? So I think that's big. And you don't check people's, we were talking about zodiac before we hopped on. You don't even check people's zodiac. You don't need to, do you? For that, just to, for the ping. Yeah.
So for me, I just follow my
Mhm.
intuition and I'll get a ping. For my
Yeah.
clients, they will
Yes.
have me do a tarot reading. They will have, before they sign a contract with someone, they will have me do the charts to make sure, like, Mercury is
Wow.
communication. Let's make sure that you two communicate compatibly. And if not, I always tell them forewarned is forearmed. Like, if there is a snag, I want to know it up front. And so,
Yes.
like, this is how I live my entire life intuitively. And I think
Yeah.
everyone should because they should align with them no
Yes.
matter what. And so mine's just a little bit more woo with it. Because like dating, business, it's like let's
hmm
get out the tarot cards, let's get out, the dowsing rods,
Yeah.
let's do something. And other people, it's like you've used in a lot of emails like gut. My gut told me to do this. My gut told me not to do
Mhm.
this. And I view that as intuition.
Yep. I
Like,
actually do too. And I use gut so that it translates well across other belief systems.
yes.
Yes.
Yes, my industry is very
Yes.
niche because I am an intuitive advisor and
Yeah.
the tools that I use are all very woo. And some people say, "Isn't that limiting?" And I said, "In the most delicious way." Because let me tell you what, you're not going to have an intuitive advisor unless you believe in intuition. So it makes it really easy to have
Yeah.
the no's are so easy. Like I
hmm
repulse people who aren't meant to be with me. They're like,
That's
mm,
beautiful.
no. And I'm like, oh, thank God. I don't have to prove myself to anybody. Like my
Uh-huh.
ideal client is like, yes, that one. At events, people will not know my name and they will just say the loud one in the hat. Everyone knows who it is. Everyone's
Wow.
like, Lily, someone needs you. And I'm like, yes.
Yes.
So even if they don't know my name, they're like, I've been called witchy woo woo in public. Like people just will not know my name. And I'm like, perfect. I don't care. Like
I love that.
they already align with
Yeah.
me and everyone knows who I am just by like the description. They're not like, oh, well, there's three people in hats. I don't know which one it is.
Yes. You know what? Sometimes you go into an East Coast accent, and it reminds me of, have you seen Guys and Dolls, the musical?
Yes.
I love Guys and Dolls. I played Adelaide in 11th grade. Ever loving Adelaide, you know, the fiance who's always waiting. And your accent sometimes shifts into an Adelaide, almost East Coast meets transatlantic. It's so nice.
And like I have people ask me, where are you from? What's your accent? And I'm like, it's just me because I have people
Yes.
ask if I'm from the East Coast. Most people ask because I cuss so much where I served in the military. They never ask if. They're always like, where? And I'm like, nope. Sorry.
Yes.
But thank you. I get yay troops, but not me. Um, but no, so yeah, the accent thing is something I get a
Yeah.
lot that people are like, where's that from? And I'm like, my soul.
I love that. Cute.
So with intuition, when is
hmm
a time you didn't follow your gut and it just got messy or
Oh.
chaotic or like, ooh, that was a life lesson?
Ooh, okay. So for me, I think there was a lot of that in. relationships before Paul. Business, for the most part, I've followed intuition, mostly because I think once I met Paul, I started to feel really safe to trust myself. Once I realized, well, okay, let me go back to relationships first because I'm bouncing. Um, so basically, I dated a lot of really douchey guys. I'll just be super honest about that. Like, I would straight up ignore the gut feeling that was like, this is a bad idea. What are you doing? This is whatever. Even the gut feelings of, this is a pattern of danger. Like, this is something that isn't safe. So, most, not all, but most of the relationships I had before Paul were pretty rough. And I was such a common denominator through that, but I was choosing that. I was pretty confused about life, and I didn't have anything in my life that had ever remained as like a cornerstone, if that makes sense. So it was
Oh
like
yeah.
yeah, constant shifting ground, hard to figure out who I am, what the heck I want. Nothing stable, nothing safe, nothing secure. So when I met Paul, we met and then we immediately had the pings and we were like, oh, okay. So we married 13 days after we met, and it was the best plan. And the interesting thing is, once I saw that work out for myself, I was like, okay, I can trust that gut feeling. It steered me right here. So I'm going to trust that it's going to only lead me to good things from here on out. And then I started following it in relationships, not friendships for the most part. I didn't have to have any more relationships, friendships, business, I followed it. In parenting, I followed it. Friendships, though, I still kind of like resisted what my intuition said. And there's this one. So you repulse people who aren't meant for you. There's something very karmically frustrating for me in that I am a magnet for the people that are not meant for me. That's come up time and time again throughout my life. They are not just magnetized, but almost obsessed.
Hmm.
Weird, right? And so there's this like magnetization that happens. And there's this little gut feeling I get sometimes in friendships where it's like, there's an ulterior motive. Be careful. What if she's wanting something with a connection or an opportunity or your business? And some people are very good at hiding intentions. When I didn't listen, though, to my intuition that they were hiding bad intentions or self-serving intentions at whatever cost, that led to quite a few really difficult friendship breakups. And now I'm listening to my gut immediately, even if it seems silly. Like, maybe this person wants something you can provide for them instead of you at your core, even if you provide nothing besides friendship. Yeah.
Yes, like the red flags that we explain away. That it's
Yes.
like you were like, "Oh, that didn't feel good." And then you're like, "Maybe they're having a bad day. I need
Yes.
to be more compassionate."
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
yes. And the thing about being fabulous, because you are fabulous, I am fabulous. We are
We are
fabulous
fabulous.
Minnesotans.
Yes.
And the problem with being fabulous is that it's almost
Yes.
like a moth to a flame. And no matter what,
Uh-huh.
people are just going to gravitate towards the vibrance of who we are and the success of our business and the fact that we
Yeah.
are compassionate. So, like, no matter what, those people come in. And then it just depends upon how you're shielding or how you're following the pings. Because
Hmm.
when I started like growing my business,
Hmm.
and having more like high-end clients
Hmm.
that are like Olympians and best-selling authors. And when I started like having those clients more on a regular basis,
Yeah.
I was so overwhelmed with like the avalanche of people that came at me. And it was to the
Yeah.
point where there was this phrase that one of my colleagues said, "You always need to wear a bolero jacket. No one can ride your coattails." So you are
Ooh.
always visualizing a bolero jacket. There is no room for anybody. You rise. You rise. And I was
Yes.
like, it really resonated with me because that's what it felt like as you
Uh-huh.
grow and heal. It's like everyone's like, "Can I get something?" And it's like, "No, you can't.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
I'm busy being fabulous over here. I don't have
love
have
that.
time."
I love that frame reframe because I don't like to say busy, but I love the concept of I'm busy being fabulous.
Yes.
I only have time to be busy being
Hmm.
fabulous.
Exactly. It's like, I don't
Yes.
think you understand how much time
Hmm.
it takes up glowing this much. Like, just put
Uh-huh.
some effort, okay? And it's the other thing that I tell people is like never just tell me that you're busy. Just tell me
Yes.
that I'm not a priority. Because I'm fine
Ooh.
with not being a priority. If you tell me that you're just like busy, I'm like, that's kind of a cop out. We all busy. We are all
Uh-huh.
running our businesses as efficiently as we can, usually while on fire, you
Yeah.
know? And like literally on the other side of this camera, there was a storm a few days ago, right? In Minnesota.
Yes.
I'm missing part of a ceiling.
That's wild because you can't see it here. But
But you
if you
got a similar?
turn, yep, because a tree just took out our trellis and our fence and destroyed our yard and hit that corner right there. Yeah, the storms have been insane here, by the way, lately,
Yes.
right? What is happening? This is not the Minnesota I know.
No, Minnesota's angry. What do we have to? I'm like, do you need some
What?
chocolate? Do you need a
Yeah.
cuddle? I am perfectly fine with
I'll get you a
talking to the
My
people.
Doll. I'll get you a My Doll.
Yeah, yes, does Minnesota need my doll? So no,
Hmm.
like I had people up on my roof repairing the roof before it rains this weekend. And I
Yes.
told them, I'm like, okay, so you can make as much noise as you want. I can work on my laptop in noise until I have to record. And
Yes.
then you have to shut up. And so at 2:30, because we're recording at 3 o'clock, they
Hmm.
all had to be done and like leave. And
Smart though. Oh my gosh.
it's like, because that's the thing, like things are on fire and
Yeah.
that's just the way it is. So I'm very much, and I like telling people that too, as much as it's like, yeah, I'm
Hmm.
busy. It's like, you are not currently a priority. And for me, I don't think we need to justify or explain anything. Like, no is a full
Hmm.
sentence. There's a period
Hmm.
at the end of no. And it's to create connection and like a healthy exchange of energy with certain people, like my friends and stuff.
Yeah.
I'll be like, you are currently not a priority. I have a deadline that I need to meet. I will reach out to you next week.
Hmm.
Or like, my health is my priority right now. I'm just recovering from a migraine. If
Hmm.
you want to check on me in a few days, I would greatly appreciate that. Like that it's a no, but
Hmm.
again, I only do that with like my friends and my colleagues. I don't want to do that
Yeah.
with followers on the internet. I never want someone to think that like they are entitled to an explanation, which I think with parasocial, like you're big into
Mhm.
social media. You're amazing at social media.
Thank you.
And the parasocial connection that people get is real and it's not
Very real.
always healthy. And
Uh-huh.
so I feel that I need a lot of boundaries around that so that people don't feel entitled that it's like, well, give me an explanation as to why you're not
Yeah.
answering my 15th message. And it's like, because you scare me now.
Yeah, something that helps a lot and has helped us this year with removing people's expectation that we're always on, like online, because we're not. I have a life off the computer,
Yes.
right? So, something that helped was when we started cycling through content from different days to break up people's ability to, because people do, they're like checking your timelines to see. Okay, so she did this call with us at 9, and then at 10, she posted this. Is this about us? So we started kind of, I know this sounds really complicated, but it helped to break up the continuity of people being able to follow thought processes throughout a day by changing this one's from Monday, different outfit set. This one's from Tuesday, different location. This one's from last summer, etc. And that actually made a huge difference. Otherwise, like people would assume that posts were about them, that it's like, no, I've been planning this for weeks, etc. So now all my
Yes.
clients and friends know you don't have to check in on anything from social. I'll message you if it's like active or current. And
Yeah.
yeah.
There was one time where it was like very much in the present moment. I did a post about that shooting that happened. And the reason I did it is because I got a
Mhm.
message saying the shooter is in your neighborhood, shelter in place. And
Yep.
so I did a very raw message of like I am stressed. This is difficult.
Mhm.
Like this sucks in general, but I'm also scared knowing that like I can't leave my house at the moment. So like
Right.
that one was very much in the moment, but I have one literally sitting on my phone of me with a horrible migraine laying on my floor holding my head and going, so to all the migraine hoes, I love you, lay on a floor. And then I like
Yeah.
fell. And so if I were to post that, people may be, oh my gosh, are you okay? It's like, dude, that was recorded weeks ago. Like,
Yes.
I look like this today, I swear. So yeah, it's breaking it up and having people understand that it's like not everything's in like real time. And
Yes.
we're not just so you're a service based, like you have
Mhm.
clients and stuff. I do
Yeah.
explain to clients before I'd be like, do you realize that I'm not just staring at a wall waiting for you to message? I have my own needs and my own life, but then I also have other clients. So like when you message me, I'm not going to message back that instant. Like if someone were to
Yeah.
message me right now, I'm not going to be like, mm. That's not going to happen. And so
Yeah.
it's like explaining to people that even though we are in a service industry, we're
Mhm.
not like accessible all the time.
Yeah, one thing that was big is we added into all of our contracts that will respond within 1 to 2 business days.
Mhm.
And I added that because I have bipolar type 1, which has really fun highs where I can do anything and everything and it's amazing. And I uncover the secrets of the universe, literally, like with marketing at least. And then the lows are I can barely get out of bed. Everything feels like 1,000 pounds. So what the 1 to 2 days is actually giving me is enough time to get functional enough within a reasonable amount of time if I were in a depressive slump during um, a client asking a question. So that helped a lot. Because there's about 1 day a week that I kind of secretly fade into the distance. And I hope
Yes.
most people don't always realize. But about once a week, it's like, I'm going to stay in bed today. Yeah.
Yeah, and so mine is severe PTSD. And so like if I'm in a PTSD spiral, I not only
Yeah.
like can't answer, I don't have the bandwidth. And
Mhm.
it's it's not that like you have to show up pristine, but it's like I always want to give my best self at 100% to my
Yes.
clients. And so it's like, no, I need the
Yes.
24-hour. And I have that in my contract too. I'm like,
Yeah.
if, and honestly, like in my contract with my clients, I'm like, if you want 24 hours or less, you have to pay me $1,000 more a month. And they're like,
Hmm.
wait a minute, just to, and I'm like, to jump to the head of the line. It costs
Yes.
$1,000 a month. Whether you need anything or
Yes.
not, you will pay me an extra thousand. And they're like, why? And I'm like, because if I have 10 people that I have to contact and you message me and you're at the bottom, you're going to slowly move up the list unless you pay for it to
Proximity.
be 24 hours.
Yeah. Proximity and speed, right?
Yeah, because it's I don't want to show up, especially with intuition. You don't show
Yeah.
up bent. You don't show up and be like, and this is how I feel you need love as you're sitting there just like in a flashback. It's like, no, you take the time and do self-care and health,
Mhm.
and then you come back and you create amazing marketing for your clients. And by the way, I suck so hard at marketing and sales. It is my biggest downfall. Like, because people are like, how are you successful? I'm like, intuition only. They're like, how do you sell? Not a clue. I will say whatever my intuition tells me to say to someone in the moment, and that's it. They're like, how do you structure it? What are your numbers? What are your data? And I'm like, I know that this client has a Venus in Capricorn, and therefore they need to move slower to feel safe. And they're just like, that's not a number. And I'm like, I know. So I
I
always
love
admire
that.
people like you where you're like, oh yeah, I can do marketing. I'm like, how? How do you do marketing without just knowing someone's astrology?
It's really hard. It's super tough because clients do not want to give a marketer their signs. I also don't know how to read their signs yet, but I'm sure I could get readings. But the interesting thing, I do get some questions that help break down their archetypes and their Jungian,
Hmm.
their four internal cognitive functions, and that helps me so much so I don't take things personally, so that I don't do
Yep.
something that mortally wounds them according to their recurring wound. And then that helps, but it's very difficult because when I started in marketing, I didn't go by frameworks. I went by, it's almost like a 3D texture feeling. So, like a certain set of copy, I'll be like, that feels like I'm covered in warm, gooey honey, and I could just take a nap right here. And I don't know how you translate that, right? Like,
Hmm.
so I had to learn frameworks to back up the things that sound
Yeah.
crazy. But I'd be like, this feels fluffy, like my carpet. Oh, I want to just like touch it like this. And yeah, but it's a 3D texture.
Yeah, and so for me with intuition, can I
Mhm.
translate those two for you energetically?
Yeah.
So being wrapped in warm honey is a feeling of comfort. It's also a feeling of sustainability. So that client would need a more sustainable marketing program, like a long run, that also
Yes.
has to be nurtured on a minute scale. And it's
Yep.
sticky, and people would be like, ew, it's sticky. It's like, no, it's that candy is sticky. You like it. It's a texture, it's a tackiness, a tactfulness
Hmm.
that is unique and individual to them. So they will stand out just by having that almost like sticky texture to them. So those are the ways that they would stand out for that.
Hmm.
And then like the carpet, that would be a very grounding. Like, oh, I need to be grounded. It's also slightly more luxurious
Yep.
um behind it. And then it's like, yep, it's going to be something that's almost like tactile. So movement that it's like you could
Mm.
rub your feet on a carpet where you're not going to rub your hands in honey. Like you
Yes.
could rub your feet on a carpet. So then that would be like, okay, so
Hmm.
there's more motion with it. And
Yep.
it's like, so we'll cycle through things more quickly as opposed to the longevity and sustainability of the honey. So it's
So
like that
cool.
my intuition is like, I know exactly what those mean. Let me tell you. So it's like I can
Yeah.
do that, but I could not tell you like what's the KPI. And I'm like, I I know what the word means, but I don't know. Again, I'm just not good with the data, which is why you outsource that stuff. Like I have to outsource that stuff because I do what I do. And then people like you outsource to me. So it's like, you're just going to send me a message. It's raspberry bubble gum. And I'll just send you a voice memo. Okay, here's why this is important. This is going to be seasonal, baby.
I love that. That is so cool.
So yeah, it's like we all have different ways of doing things, and I really like the neuroscience behind stuff. Like you said, the Jungian, the uh
Mhm.
all of those different things. People are like, "Oh yeah, you're so woo," and I'm like, I love neuroplasticity. I love the neural pathways that we can like go down and work with, and the time of day that utilizes that best. So I love the science with the woo, which really
Yeah.
weirds people out. They're like, you use tarot cards, and I'm like, yes, but we're also going to talk about your triggers and your personality quirks, but also if you have any personality disorders, like because
Mhm.
those do contribute into your energetic field and your intuition.
Yep. There are some things in my brain that show up in my chart
Hmm.
in freaky ways. It is, you might even already know, but it's wild. So
Yeah, it's cool to learn about those things.
it is really cool to learn about those things. And sometimes it feels like a lot. And I love the moment when you step back. And this is what I feel all the time with astrology. I feel like know so little here. And I almost love that. It feels like a massive cavern, like, and I'm just standing and looking up and being like, this is so much. And I love that I can go slow here. Whereas, like in marketing, I have to go fast because it's my job.
Yeah.
But it's like I get to tiptoe and play and, lay in the water in the shallow end and then kind of work my way deeper into the cavern that slowly becomes an ocean.
Yeah, that is
Mhm.
it's amazing. And like with marketing and your husband, and I believe you have I want to say two children. Three.
Oh,
Sorry, missed one.
yeah, it's okay. I don't ever post them, so everyone's like, "Wait, how many does she have these days?" I don't know.
I'm like, I know she's a mom.
Yeah.
You have, and then like you said, you have bipolar. You have all of these things going on, and I don't know if you know this about me. I think balance is stupid. I think balance is bullshit. Anyone who walks up to me is like work-life balance. I'm like, get away from me. I believe two very important things. There is no such thing as balance. There is
Mhm.
only harmony.
Mm.
And your harmony is your responsibility. It is
Mhm.
not your bosses and it is not any practitioner. It's like you have to be empowered to take ownership of your energy. And I always tell people, okay, think of it like a band. There's the lead singer, lead guitarist,
Yeah.
there's a bassist. But let me tell you what, when the tambourine solo comes up, they're there for it. Okay. So
Yeah.
like don't just because something like is in the background the majority of the time, like not
Mhm.
gonna lie, my taxes are not something I think of often, but when that tambourine solo comes, they get all of my attention.
Yes.
And so as for your harmony, how do you find harmony with all the things that you're doing.
It's so funny, and I would just it's weird that you said that because I just told Paul, literally just over an hour ago. I said, "Oh my gosh, the number one question I'm getting lately is how do you balance it all?" And I'm like, how do I explain? It never feels like it. It's imperfect and it's fluid and it's ever changing and it's give and take. Can you please give a little? I have to take a little, give a little. Here you go,
Mhm.
take a little. Um, it is, you need a lot of communication with all the people involved. I like harmony better than balance because that question's been irking me lately. Not like in a bad way, but more like, do you guys all think I just have my whole life figured out all the time? Because I don't. I sure don't. But there are some areas at times that feel more together than others. So it's very much communication, clear expectations of what each person needs.
Mhm.
There has to be safety for people to communicate their needs. Um, one of the big things that we always strive for in our house is a no yelling, no violence home. That's huge. And so everything else has to be on that foundation. So all harmony is supported by that. Does
Mhm.
that make sense? We're not
Yeah.
trying to be not yelling or non-violent. It's more like everything we build from that foundation up has to follow that. But it's different from day to day. Some days I feel like I'm kicking butt in business, and some days I feel like I'm kicking butt as a mom, and some days I feel like life is kicking my butt a little, and I just need some Netflix binging and chocolate ice cream. So, does that answer that? Because it doesn't.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's harmony looks different for everybody. And some people it's
Yes.
like, oh, it's a very strict like self-care regimen. And like mine is ever evolving. Every day, my
Uh-huh.
100% will look different. And it's like,
Yes.
I honor that because let me tell you what, sometimes 100 days is laying on your floor. And you're
Ooh,
just like, you're
yeah.
sitting there with the camera going, I will do a 30-second video and then I'm gonna just like sleep on my floor and it'll be fine. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but no, and that's why I love harmony so much over balance because
Mm-hmm.
everyone's like, what's your balance? And I'm like, it's not scales as much as that's such an outdated concept
Yeah.
and so limiting. Like,
Yes.
why do you think it's a seesaw? Why do you think it's only two? Why do you think it's finite? Like,
Mm-hmm.
why isn't it, and your band can be a fucking symphony. It can have 100 different instruments. It can be whatever it needs to be.
Yes.
And I do mine through like my values.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's always values, then boundaries, then standards, and
Mm-hmm.
priorities. And it's always in that order
Yeah.
because it's like everything has to align with my values for me to do it. And
Mm-hmm.
a misconception about values is that all your values are created equal.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like with PTSD and my immune system crashed when I was 14. So I've been chronically ill since I was 14 years old. I have no clue what it's like to be a healthy adult, which in a
Yeah.
weird way is really good. So I missed nothing.
Yeah.
I was like, this was taken from me. I'm like, no, no, I went to prom and took a nap in my dress. Okay. Like I was sick for a while. And so,
Mm-hmm.
like, self-care, my health is number one. And occasionally it'll go to number two, like if I'm at an event and I'm
Yeah.
speaking on a stage. Oh yeah, I'll take some migraine medication and go out in the lights. But then I'm gonna go
Yeah.
backstage and like put on sunglasses and be like, nobody speak to me. I need a bucket. But it's like self-care is number one. My
Mhm.
business is my baby. It's always a part of like my values is doing that with integrity. Because people are like,
Yes.
no, all your values, all of them are important to you. I'm like, but they're not equal because
No.
you're gonna have to choose between your kids
Uh-huh.
and your husband at some point. You're gonna have to choose between your family and your health at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Which one of those in that moment, because they don't have to be the same every time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One thing too, is sometimes I'll look for like option C, which is what's the other thing that I can completely deprioritize to open up more space for these other things? Like, for example, can I deprioritize friends completely for 30 days because the kids and business, which are two of the top
Yes.
ones, they both need a lot, which means I'm going to need to pop self-care in there or I'm going to burn out. So
Mhm.
I have three things that are all going to be competing. I don't have time for friends. I don't have time for let's say like getting really fit. I don't have time for maybe reading books or writing books. Those are all just going to have to wait. So I love that though. And I would agree that's how life feels. Things change and reprioritize and deprioritize and have different importance in different seasons.
It's meant to evolve. It's not meant to be
Hmm.
stagnant. Like moving forward means moving. And
Yes.
so many people are like, no, it should look the same every day. I'm like, oh, honey, I'm so sorry. This is gonna crush your soul, but
Yeah.
unfortunately, that's not true. So you are amazing with passive income products, but also marketing. And basically everything revolves around marketing, sales, social media for
Hmm.
you. So when
Hmm.
people want to work with you either
Yeah.
passively or
Mhm.
actively, how would they do that? Would they follow you on social media, go to a website?
Question.
How can people get
Get in the
closer to your
world.
brilliance?
Come on in, folks. Okay, so I'm really proud of this. The easiest place to find me is actually my site now. It's rachelpedersen.com, all E's and a D in my last name. And I'm really proud of my site because I wasn't getting the site I wanted anywhere I looked. And I was like, I'm just going to build how I want it, even if it's not perfect. So it is a content first site. So there are blogs I put up 3 to 5 per week that, yes, I do myself. I'm really proud of them. They're packed full of tips, steps, strategies, tutorials, frameworks, the ways I work marketing. And that's all free. So rachelpedersen.com.
I love it. I love it. And I have followed you for over a year on social media, and
Wow.
I've always loved your free content. And
Thank
it's
you.
always because I feel like you put thought into it. It's always thoughtful. It's
Yes.
never like, well, I'll just put this up and this is a free thing. You're always like, I believe this will add value to someone's life
Yes.
here.
Yes.
And it's like, God, that was so thoughtful. It's like, oh, it's the card that you didn't know you needed. And you get it in
Oh
the mail
my
and you're like, oh,
gosh.
thank you, sweetie. This was perfect.
I love that. And I do put a lot of thought into like even our freebies. I go deeper with our freebies because I hate downloading a one-page PDF where I'm like, oh, this was just fluff. I didn't actually learn a single thing. There's nothing I can apply. There's no reframe of beliefs. Oh man. So I just make them how I want them to be, and then people have, for the most part, liked them. So it's been really fun.
That is amazing. So it's rachelpedersen.com. And thank you so much for coming and doing
Thank
this
you.
and being a part of this. And I will post all of your information in the description so that people can just click it. Because I don't know about you,
So
but I'm not
fun.
a let me type that and try and sound it out. I'm like, where's the link?
Mm-mm.
Let me click.
Yep.
I need something. I'm a millennial. I need something clickable.
I love that. Well, thank you for having me, Lily. This was wonderful.
Definitely.